I think that the single most profound human need is the need to genuinely connect, to be yourself in a relationship. Well, a lot of people who suffer from depression feel so ashamed of their genuine self, so ashamed and afraid of their true feelings, their true thoughts, that they hide them and they create a kind of false self that they present to the world.
I had always felt there's something really defective about me. I didn't know why this was. I was in a pretty abusive household. Growing up, my parents divorced when I was 12. I moved to Boston when I had just turned 16 and started in the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And that was actually my first experience learning that other people had the same feelings that I had. That is, desperation, isolation.
It was just after I lost my job and I was looking at losing my house. I was at my lowest point then, and I knew if something happened to me that my ex-husband would be willing to take the kids, and I started to think they would be much better off with him than me.
I remember we found a suicide note and it was ripped up in the trash, and we pieced it back together, and it said, "I have no hope. No one can save me."
At the end of my sophomore year, beginning of my junior year, I went to an annual 3-day party at my dormitory and took some LSD, and at that point my world started to fall apart. Something went very wrong, and the feelings which had been really subdued or suppressed came out really powerfully, and I became acutely suicidal, and I felt there was really no one to support me. I felt really strongly like I wasn't going to make it to 21.
So one day, with the thought that I would drive off a bridge that I knew of, I took off in my car. I had written a note at home telling them what I was going to do and telling them that I loved them very much, but I just couldn't continue on the way I was going.
I've been told by one of the doctors that people in this kind of pain, it's like being on fire, and the only way that they can end their pain is to take their own life. My daughter died from depression. It was a disease that we just weren't able to help her overcome. And I try to think that way all the time. That's the only way I can live with it.
Human beings need to talk about what they're going through. People find themselves out there alone and unable to really talk about what their experience is and what they're going through.
I had no one left I could call. I had nobody left. And it was very bad. And that's when I discovered the Samaritans.
We serve the people who are all alone, the people who don't have anybody else to turn to, the people that are ashamed and hiding.
Well, after my daughter passed away, I was in such excruciating pain, I didn't know where to turn. And I remember that I would go to the cemetery to see my daughter. All I know is that I made that phone call. After that phone call, I was able to breathe again and leave my daughter's gravesite and go back home to my family in one piece.
For some reason, I pulled over to the rest stop just before the bridge, and I started to think about what I was intending to do. And for some reason, probably because I had spoken with the Samaritans before, I gave them a call.
The great thing about Samaritans is you can just pick up the telephone. you could probably do that much. And get another voice. And just say, why bother? Just say what you're feeling. And that other voice will hear you, will understand you, will connect with you. And you know what? That's the beginning of hope.
All I wanted was somebody to listen, and what I got was somebody who listened without judging.
The hope with every call is that the caller can, first and foremost, feel some relief. Many of the callers are in tremendous pain.
She asked, "Can you give me a minute of your time?" So I did. And she asked a little bit about me, and I told her about the kids and my dogs, and I told her a little bit about the situation that I was in. And next thing I knew, I was having a conversation with Sue, and Sue said, "Lori, you've given me 5 minutes, and I want to thank you for giving me your time. Would you give me 10 more minutes?" And by that time, I had built up a rapport with Sue, and I thought, yeah, I can give her 10 more minutes. What's 10 minutes to eternity?
Central to all of what Samaritans does, in a sense, is helping people find their voice, to be able to articulate what their experience is without it being judged.
I went to a safe place a few times. I met other people there, mothers and sisters and sons that had lost parents, and I found that was a real blessing to be with people. Nobody can understand this, what we go through, unless you've really gone through it.
And then after that 10 minutes, Sue said to me, "You've given me 10 minutes of your time, Laura. Would you consider turning around?" No, I'm not going to do that. I've got it all set up at home, I thought to myself. I said, "Sue, I can't go back home. There's nothing to go to." And Sue said, "Laura, do you know how much children need their mother?" And I thought about it. Because of Sue's gentle guidance, the next exit, instead of driving over the bridge, I turned around and I drove home.
Everybody needs somebody to talk to. We can't go through this alone. I think in the support groups, it's the individuals that really help each other the most.
There's nothing more healing than feeling understood and understanding someone else. It's beautiful, it's powerful, and it's unique.
I've been sober now for over 13 years. And in recovery from depression and post-traumatic stress disorder for 20 years.
And that day, Sue saved my life, because without her gently guiding me, I would have driven off the bridge.
This is a life-saving, life-changing service.
I bring one red rose to her grave. That's what I do on Valentine's Day. That helps me to survive, I guess.
And next thing you know, you're not alone, cut off, alienated, suffering. You're contributing and being real, different, unique, as we all are, and honest, real. And that's the greatest feeling in the world.
If we can just stop one family from suffering like this, it's worth everything that we do, and the Samaritans save people every day.